you said, oh no, they're not doing so well. Listen to this one. 9.8% in the fourth quarter. Would we like that just for one quarter?
Yeah.
Because we're stagnant and we're like nothing.
1.4.
9.8. What were we? 1.4. Yeah, and those numbers were a little bit tinged too. Believe me. The fact is, this happened again because of all of the business they're getting from the world, but mostly from the United States because of manipulation. Now, we're fast becoming a country of broken dreams, sadly, and I'm hearing it all the time. And it really is a very serious matter. I am very strong on concise borders. We either have a country or we don't.
Woo!
But one thing I've never, ever heard, and that's people of achievement. I know many incredible people from South America, from Europe, from Asia. They can't get into the country. They went to the best colleges. They went to our colleges. They want to be here. They want to work. They want to create jobs. We don't let them in. And yet, and I've had it so many times, I've had so many people begging me, can I help them? They think I know all the senators. Can I help them? It's impossible almost to get them in. You come from Europe. You come from Latin America. You come from different places. You graduate with master's degrees. You're going to put people to work. You can't come into this country. But sadly, if you're a criminal, a sex offender, a rapist, a murderer, or quite frankly, somebody who's never, ever achieved anything, and you're able to cross the borders, you stay in our country, in some cases with benefits, and never leave.
Right.
What is going on?
That's right. That's right.
Now, despite what you hear from Washington, and this is going to be the big problem because they've so weakened the dollar, but despite what you hear in Washington, inflation is rampant. Rampant. Food prices had their biggest increase since 1974. 1974. That will be nothing compared to what's going to happen to you at the gasoline pump. Gasoline prices have gone up 67% since Obama took office 2 years ago. And rising gas prices will absolutely kill any movement in the economy. We can't. That's the blood of the economy. And by the way, the 67%, I got that stat 4 weeks ago. Since then, you know what's happened. It's much higher.
That's right.
Between our pathetically weak dollar and our president's inability to rein in the OPEC nations, fuel prices will be hitting levels never even dreamt of before. Good luck, folks, when you want to take a nice ride with your wife or your husband. Clothing and all other goods you'll be buying likewise are and will be going through the roof. Cotton is probably the worst thing that's happened anywhere. Cotton, they say, is just unbelievable what's happened to cotton prices, which is clothing. And yet you speak to President Obama and he'll tell you that inflation is under control. Where is he living? The truth is, he lives in the world of the make-believe, in my opinion, and even the fact that he became president is the world of the make-believe.
That's right.
Obama is unwilling or unable to show his birth certificate. He had lousy marks in school and he got into Harvard on a scholarship. Explain that one. By the way, I have friends that have kids that have all A's, that have the highest aptitude test. They can't get into Harvard. They can't get into Wharton either, by the way, which I'm very proud to tell you. But they can't get into Harvard. He got into Harvard. Huh? Oh, Israel. She's saying, how about Israel? How about Israel? How can... Hey, I have so many Jewish friends that are supporting Obama, and I'm saying, are you crazy? There's never been anybody worse to Israel than Obama. I mean, thank you. Stand up, take a bow. Thank you. There has never been any president worse to Israel. And yet I'll have friends, oh, Donald, before they knew I was thinking about doing this, oh, you have to come to a fundraiser on my Park Avenue apartment. We're having I say, for who? Obama. No thanks. I say, why would you have a fundraiser for Obama? You know, it's hard to believe. Anyway. He did one deal. Now listen to this. He did one deal in his life, and that was a real estate deal for the purchase and expansion of his house at below fair market value from a mobster and campaign contributor and one of his best friends who ended up going to jail, and Obama was hardly even looked at. Okay? When I heard, his name is Tony Risco.
That's right.
If anybody in the audience did what he did, you wouldn't be here today. I guarantee you'd be someplace else. How he got away with that one, how he's getting away with this whole birth certificate scam, this whole thing is incredible. All right. A couple of little things. Who? They give me some good ideas. Oh, heirs. Well, you people are worse than I am. Okay, Bill Ayers, I'll give you this real quick. Should I do it or? You don't want to leave? You're my people. I love you.
You can stay.
Okay. She's just shouting out, what about Bill Ayers? Well, Bill Ayers was a bad guy. He was a real terrorist, a real bad guy. Well, he was Obama's best friend. By the way, Obama dropped all of his best friends. He dropped Tony Risco. Oh, Tony Risco, I hardly know him. Think of it, before I get to Bill Ayers, I have to finish with Risco. Think of this. He buys a house.
That's blocked.
Right alongside, there's another housing site. Now, we all know about houses, right? We're all, I'm very good at real estate, and most of you are good at real estate. Okay, so now he buys, Risco buys the house lot, just a lot next to him. Obama wants to make a larger room in his house. So Risco sells him at below market value a little chunk of the back of the lot. Now, what does that do? That ruins the lot for Risco. In other words, nobody's going to buy, oh, gee, let me buy that lot. And by the way, how come the back of my lot is gone? Where is it? Oh, your senator's on it, okay? So he buys this chunk. So now, if you think about it, not only was it under market, but he rendered the rest of the piece of land useless.
That's right.
Now, when I heard that, I said, well, that's the end of his campaign. That's the end of him. I didn't know him. I didn't care. But I just heard it. I said, that's the end of his campaign. Nothing.
Right.
He's president of the United States. Can you believe this?
No.
All right, Bill Ayers.
No.
To satisfy that one, 'cause I
No.
love the Bill Ayers thing. I just didn't want to do it because I didn't want to get wordy. As Obama would say. But, Bill Ayers. Bill Ayers is a bad guy, terrorist, lots of bad thoughts, but he is a genius, okay? He's a genius. And there's been a long controversy about Obama's first book. Who wrote it? Well, Bill Ayers came out recently and actually said, you know, he no longer likes Obama because Obama has not treated him well because he dropped him like he did Risco and like he did the legendary Reverend Wright, okay?
That's right.
You know, we'll talk about Reverend Wright. So what happens is Bill Ayers, in my opinion, hey, I wrote The Art of the Deal, one of the biggest selling business books of all time. They say the biggest selling business book. And I had many, I think I have 11 or 12 books. Virtually all of them were bestsellers. Some were #1 bestsellers. So I know a lot about books. The man that wrote the second book, he made a big mistake when he wrote the second book. He probably did it for a couple of bucks. The man that wrote the second book didn't write the first book. The first book was written by Ernest Hemingway Plus. The second book was written by a high school graduate. The difference was like chicken salad and chicken shit. Okay? And yet, if you think about it, without that first book, which he did not write, there is no way, because I read both.